More Earth Science on the way. This is Norris Teaches Science with another Earth Science Edition video. In this video, we're still talking about meteorology. If you have watched all the videos in order, if not, this is a video on meteorology. I am Mr. Norris, and today we're going to talk about winds, how winds and how they are part of meteorology. So by the end of this video, you should be able to say, I can discuss the formation and motions of winds in the atmosphere. So what causes winds? The thing that causes winds is something called air pressure differences. It means that there's different air pressures in different areas, um, and the flow between those air pressures. Now, if there's a steep pressure difference between two areas, you're going to have strong winds. And if there's a gentle air pressure difference, you're going to have light winds. What I mean is, say if one place goes from 50 a 50 measurement of air pressure to a 20 measurement of air pressure, that's a big difference. That's a steep one, so you're going to have strong winds. But if it like goes from 50 to 48, that's going to be a gentle wind. It's going to be a light wind. Now, the sun fuels these pressure differences by making different temperature differences. Um, how do winds move? They move from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. So it goes from high pressure to low pressure. And we name winds based on the direction they come from. So west winds would blow from west to east. West to east. Global winds. Um, Now, when we talk about winds, you can talk about globally what winds are all around the globe, and then you can have localized winds. Global winds are in there because the atmosphere acts like a giant heat transfer system. So they're trying to move the heat around the um, globe. It moves warm air to the high latitudes like the poles, and we're trying to move the cold air from the poles to the equator. Now, what are the global winds? There's a couple global winds we need to talk about. We have the trade winds. You can see that right here. I'm going to label them A. I definitely would pause this video before it goes on to the next slide and draw this diagram out. Not all the words, but maybe label how the draw the circle, label how the winds are going, and label the trade winds, westerlies, and polar easterlies, just so you have them there. The trade winds are two belts of winds that blow almost constantly east to west, and these are near the equator. The westerlies, I'm labeling them, they're B. They are dominant west to east motion, and something called the jet stream occurs here in the northern hemisphere. And these are more of your mid-latitude areas. You can see that mid-latitude. If you live in the United States, most of your weather is controlled by the westerlies because our storm systems enter on the west coast and exit on the east coast. Most, not all. I said most. The polar easterlies, labeling them now, they are more at the poles. They blow east to west. And there is this point right here called the polar front, and it's the interaction between warm and cold air masses, and it produces this little stormy belt. Now, winds could also be localized or local winds, and we're talking about land breezes, sea breezes, valley breezes, and mountain breezes. So we're going to talk about each one of them. So a land breeze versus a sea breeze. Have you ever been to the beach? If you've been to the beach and you've been there through the day and into the night, you notice that the wind changes its direction. During the day, you'll have a sea breeze, means the wind's coming from the ocean. That's because land heats faster than water, causing there to be a high pressure over water and a low pressure over land. And remember, winds flow from high to low, so they go from the sea to the land. At night, you get a land breeze, and that's because the land cools faster than the water. So the high pressure is now over land, and the low pressure is now over water. So the wind will blow from the land to the sea and blowing out to sea. I have My family used to vacation at the beach every year for a week, and we could tell when the winds shift direction. Now, a valley breeze versus a mountain breeze is about the same thing. A valley breeze happens during the day, and this is when warm air rises from the valley floor. We call it an upslope breeze. While mountain breezes happen at night, and this is when the cool air is moving into the valley, and it's called a downslope breeze. But this is a little bit about winds and the local winds and the global winds. Hope you learned something today. This is Mr. Norris, and he's signing out for this video.